Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and this is part 2 or a follow-up video to my post from yesterday where I discussed and talked about Charlie Kirk's assassination and I made a public statement. The reason why I'm making another video is because I'm not done. So, of course, regular uploads will soon resume, although I do want to underline for those who will say, oh, why are you posting this? I'm here for history. Yes, but I post 30 times a month, so excuse me a couple of uploads. I do understand that the algorithm doesn't seem to notify you, so just reminding you, please check every day, you'll find a new video. So the items of discussion today have to do with a few things. Thing number one, I would like to talk about the shooter himself. Seems like that he was finally apprehended. And the most important aspect of this is the fact that I think I'd like to talk about the kind of words that were written on his ammo, because some of those are connected specifically to my country, and I believe I can give a unique perspective. More on that later. The second item of discussion is going to be a boycott of a specific game produced by Sucker Punch, namely Ghost of Yote, a boycott that I have strongly supported, and my own post has reached 1.6 million views about it, and I'd like to talk about it in details. Of course, the boycott having to do with one of Sucker Punch senior developers of the game laughing at Charlie Kirk's death. No more. But before I continue, you do know that I'm a very pedantic individual, therefore I do expect precision in vocabulary. Please stop saying Charlie Kirk's execution. It is not an execution. It was not an execution. It was an assassination. The difference being that assassinations are illegal, they are crimes, and they're often motivated by political, ideological, or personal reasons. Whereas an execution, whenever it does happen, it's sanctioned by law and it follows a judicial system. So, this doesn't matter whether you agree with it, you disagree with the concept. This was not an execution. Let's use the correct vocabulary. He was gunned down like an animal in front of his family. With that out of the way, I would like to take you now to my X account. Of course, you'll find a link both in the description and in a pinned comment, and you should totally come and follow me there, because I've been on fire, as I always am, by the way. So, it's a very active account, 15 posts yesterday alone. Precisely 16 hours ago, I shared this post from FBI Salt Lake City. As you can see, it has a gray tick, so this means it is an official government entity. Please don't share people that just put a picture, and they say it's this guy, but there is no, it could be someone else, could be someone innocent. No, always share the stuff that is being posted by official authorities. The FBI says, we are asking for the public's help identifying this person of interest in connection with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. There is a number to call, and I said, find him. So this is the individual. These are the raw footage camera for the surveillance cameras. I do not understand why we don't have 4K or 8K technology. When they always look like these are cameras from the 1980s, but regardless, this is what we've got. Now, there is an enhanced version online about these, but they have been enhanced through AI. So you do need to take them with a grain of salt if you see them in the wild. Friend of the channel Yuki has also shared these other pictures of the individual that I'm going to show now. Once again, she reposted Utah Public Safety, and we see this is the person of interest in connection to the shooting. Now, luckily, according to the recent news, they got him. I'm not sure. I read someone saying that he turned himself in. I still haven't been able to double check that piece of information. I don't particularly care whether it was the authorities that actually did get him or it was him who turned himself in, because it's nationwide manhunt and he knew that he had no way to escape. Whichever the case, I don't care. What I care about is that this person is in custody. Now let's talk about the ammo of this piece of garbage. So it seems like that the ammunition that they found in connection to the shooting and the abandoned high-powered high-caliber rifle, that's, I believe, how they describe the weapon, had some words written on it. Now, this is not the first time. Recently, with the horrific shooting that occurred in the Catholic Church of those children that were shot at, that was another situation like this where there were... It seems like that's the new thing. That's how you speak. Instead of uttering the words, you write them on bullets. Good job. It seems like it's a thing. Now, of course, since I look for unbiased information, as all I care about is the truth, I look at several points of reference. I've seen what CNN said, I've seen what Fox News said, I don't like either. I've tried to read all sorts of different outlets, because unfortunately in today's age, when it comes to journalism in connection to the truth, it's a mosaic. You gotta play puzzle. CNN refers to slogans on Charlie Kirk killer's gun as cultural issues. Now, I'm just going to say it, CNN, you're absolute scum. The public has a right to know, because that could have been me, it could have been you, it could have been your loved ones. And this is clearly an attempt at hiding it. Vague, it's as vague as possible. Cultural issues, they don't tell us what it is. Now, the reason is clear as day, as we actually do see other outlets that have reported on this and told us what was written on these. I'll tell you in a second. But the real reason why this pisses me off is not even their choice. Because, of course, they could choose to present it however they want. If they are like, no, we don't want to foment any possible retaliation, I guess. So we are just going to be vague and not going to tell you exactly what it said. It's not the choice. It's the two-tier system. It's the double standards. Because make no mistake, if this was an opposite scenario, and the political commentator that got gunned down was a left-wing commentator, and by the way, I wouldn't wish that to anyone. I don't want anyone to get shot. Left, right, no one should get shot for spreading their ideas, just putting it out there. I condemn it all. But if this was what had happened, and they found ammunition, and on those magazines, the bullets had their words such as praising white supremacy or praising whatever the heck or alt-right ideology, they would plaster it all over the place. Same with New York Times. Thus, me having a problem with this. I want to know, in both cases, I want to know who I'm dealing with when there is scum that kills someone because they disagree politically. Is that fair? I've had a lot of people in the comments recently with my post yesterday telling me, I want to thank you for being decent about this. Thank you so much. And I'm like, being decent used to be the norm. And then there were the occasional lunatics. Now you need to thank people for being decent because it's becoming rarer and rarer. What world are we building for our children? It should be the norm. I shouldn't be thanked for being decent, understanding, empathetic, and uphold at the death of a husband, a father, and the tragedy of those kids and wife and what they have to go through. And for what? I don't want those thanks. It's not supposed to be something that makes me special, for crying out loud. But this is where we are, so we, decent people, need to band together against the lunatics. Anyways, we're told that the ammunition used on Charlie Kirk contained inscribed with anti-fascist messaging, shedding light on the suspect's motive. Confirming what we already know. Let's tell it how it is. Yeah, bolt-action rifle, that's it, that's the terminology. Officials recovered a .30-06 caliber Mauser rifle in the woods that contained engravings including messaging expressing anti-fascist ideology and other messages. Now, I want to know what the other messages are. I'm not hiding anything. Take it with him. Take it with the criminal. It's his fault. He wrote it. I'm reading it. When he says messaging expressing anti-fascist ideology, some of the things that he wrote is Bella Ciao. This is an Italian, mostly left-wing song from back in the day when you had partisans fighting against fascists and Nazi occupation. The real fascists, by the way. Not Charlie Kirk. The real fascists. The political ones. But it's a song that every Italian knows. And there is a reason why this pisses me off particularly. I'll tell you in a second, and it has to do with my family. Let's go. Fox News Digital confirmed the veracity of the ATF bulletin through talking to multiple sources. Okay. Law enforcement officials worked frantically in the aftermath of Kirk's death to track down and arrest the gunman, who they announced Friday was Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old Utah man. Why does this name ring the bell? I'll do a little research in a little bit. And on Friday, this was confirmed as a political assassination. We already knew that. And I would like to point out that CNN initially said, oh, we don't know if it's a political assassination. It could have been a fan who was just shooting a gun in celebration and so happened to hit him. Liars. Liars. Call them for what they are. Liars. Anyways, you know this channel. I tell it how it is, guys. I don't filter it. It's an attack on all of us. It's an attack on the American experiment. I agree. Man, it's difficult to find exactly the phrasing, what they wrote. Okay, there we go. One shell casing read, "Hey, fascist, catch." Right. See, that's what you get when you call people fascist 24/7. Me included. You know, this kind of hits close to home since I kept being called fascist constantly for no reason. Zero reason. Zero. No justification. So yeah, that kind of whatever. Alright, here it is. So, there were also inscriptions on 3 recovered unfired casings. Those said, "Hey fascist, catch," followed by a arrow symbol, a right arrow symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Okay. If you read this, you are gay. What? LMAO. Wow. Okay. Great. Yeah, this guy sounds more and more tolerant the more I know about him. Yes, Bella Ciao is an Italian song, correct, dedicated to resistant fighters against the Nazi troops occupying the country during World War II, correct. It is a rallying cry for anti-fascists. Yes, but... So let me tell you a little bit about Bella Ciao. So Bella Ciao, it is an anti-fascism and anti-Nazism song. Now, usually in Italy, this has been mostly connected to left-wing parties, but we have to understand this. What really matters is that this song is generally connected to Italian resistant fighters, specifically under Nazi and fascist rule during the war, and these were partisans. This has nothing to do with people calling someone a fascist because they disagree. So the fact that this scum decided to appropriate this song from my country deeply offends me. You can disagree with 90%, maybe even 99% of the position, political takes, ideas, religious ideas of this man. Sorry, this martyr. And still condemn his assassination. If instead of him here, in fact, I don't even expect you to sing his praises. Don't. Just say, this is horrific. And I find it particularly insulting that someone like him was consistently called a fascist. Why? Because my family knows what real fascism is. You know, one of the main differences between him and a real fascist is, he was for debate. He was ready to sit down, talk to you, have a debate, listen to you, and he believed in your freedom to disagree with him. Do you think that the likes of Benito Mussolini / Giovanni Gentile / all of the rest of the fascists in Italy during the 1940s would have sat down to have an open discussion and debate with you and would have fought for your freedom to speak your mind and disagree with them? No, you know what they would have done to you if you said something they didn't like? I'll show you. This. Thus, he is the fascist. He is the fascist. And this concludes this section. Let's move to the next item. The next item of discussion has to do with the boycott that I've been talking about. And generally speaking, I changed my mind when it comes to boycotts. I used to be against them because I thought there was a frivolous thing at the end of the day. Why are you taking? But no, now I changed my mind. I'm absolutely pro-boycott. And here's the thing. This game, Ghost of Yote, I have... Oh, by the way, please stop saying Yotai. This is in German. It's Japanese. It's pronounced either. You have 2 choices. It's the name of a mountain in Japan, specifically in Hokkaido, and you can pronounce it Yote or Yotei. For those who are into pitch, it's hairband pattern, low to high and stays high. Forget the pitch, just don't say Yotai. Thank you. Now, the reason why I've been calling for a boycott, as you see here, I say boycott. The lead developer laughed at Charlie's death. Do not buy. Hold them accountable. No more. Do remember the game launches in 3 weeks. And here I provided proof. So, Drew. This is the name, this is the person. Senior staff, character, texture, look, developer, and blah blah blah. Sucker Punch Studio. They first made a joke saying, I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back. He died doing what he loved, being a transphobic... Okay, I don't even want to read it. I don't even want to read it. And this goes on. So this person is completely unhinged. Therefore, I called for a boycott. I refuse to give money to those who hate us. Simply because we may have disagreements. I refuse. And so should you. Allegedly, this person has been fired, which is a good start. Hence, I made this following statement just 39 minutes ago. I say, the senior developer was allegedly fired over their disgusting celebratory remarks about Charlie Kirk's death. Good. Still, due to the fact that we are talking about a senior developer for a game that was already controversial due to the lead actress's unhinged ex-posts, she's an extremist, the one that actually gives the face to the character. Here is how I continue. The company must make a public statement where they say they do not condone the mocking, laughing, and celebration of the death of Kirk. Until they do that, the boycott continues. Cancel pre-orders. Do not buy. Hit them hard on what they care about the most. Profit. no humanity, no profit, no decency, no sales. I stand by that 1000%. So I'm not going to buy it until they make a statement. Of course, they have the freedom not to make the statement, and I have the freedom to not buy the products ever again. Because you see, silence speaks louder than words. And in these days, not speaking, staying silent is a statement. Particularly when something like this happens from someone who was heavily involved in the production of this product of yours that has your name. At the end of the day, I'm not asking the company to take political stances. I'm not asking the company to do any of that. Because this has happened and it's everywhere now, I think the company should do the right thing. They should make a statement. It can be short. They can write it with their freaking legal team. I don't even care. I don't care if it's corporate speech. This is the bare minimum for me to even consider. Yet they're silent. Boycott continues. And to be honest, at this point, even if they did make it, I would stop pushing the boycott, but I personally am not going to buy anything they ever produce ever again because it just took them so long. Why? The only explanation is either they silently, quietly agree, can't prove it, but it's either that, or they are scared of the extremists. Why? Don't you want your product to be bought and enjoyed by decent people? You've got decent people in the center, you've got decent people in the right, you've got decent people in the left. Why do you care about the scum that is running around laughing and celebrating like evil, possessed demons? Why do you care about those? If you want their money, you will not have mine.